The other morning, I got home from my walk and my husband was unloading the dishwasher, listening to old country music. Pretty sure it was Willie Nelson or Merle Haggard, the stuff he grew up listening to because that's what his dad liked. And I just started laughing. Not because anything was funny, but because it hit me. This is our life now. He's retired, he's home every day, and we've settled into this new rhythm that I never really saw coming, even though we planned for it. But here's the thing I didn't expect. Retirement changes your life even if nothing goes wrong. There was no meltdown, no money fights, no identity crisis. And still I had to adjust. My space, my routines, and even how I grocery shop, all of it had shifted. And not in a big dramatic ways, just those little quiet little ways that sneak up on you and make you think, okay, this feels different. If we haven't met yet, I'm Sarah from bonusandpennies.com. I'm a financial coach and the author of Fundamentally Frugal, and I help midlife women simplify their money, their mindset, without shame or overwhelmed. In today's video, I want to tell you 15 things I genuinely wish I knew before my husband retired. Things no one warned me about, not because they were scary, but because they were real. I'll tell you why our grocery bill shifted, even though we weren't spending more, how sharing space 24/7 changes your routine in sneaky ways, and the one little thing I had to relearn after years of working alone. So grab your coffee and get comfy, because if you or your partner is close to retirement or are already there, this might be exactly the conversation you didn't know you needed. Number one, your schedule is no longer your own. When he was working, I had full control over my daily flow. Mornings were quiet, predictable. I'd work, clean, or just sit with my coffee and not speak to another human for hours. But once he was home every day, I started bumping into someone else's space. If I wanted to film a video or hop on a call, I had to think about whether he'd be walking in on me or starting a loud lawnmower, tractor, four-wheeler, snowblower. You're picking up what I'm putting down here, right? It wasn't disruptive in a bad way, or maybe a little bit. It just meant the house wasn't mine during the day anymore. We had to relearn how to coexist in a space that was used to solitude, and honestly, that requires a lot more coordination than I expected. At least a quick text to let him know what's going on. Number two, meals feel differently in a good way. Breakfast is now a main meal. He normally cooks while I'm upstairs working, and breakfast is now a time for us to be together. Now, I want to mention here that my husband truly is amazing. And yes, I may be bragging him up a little bit through this video. We've been together for 32 years and married for almost 28. I understand how blessed I am here, and I also understand that not everyone can relate. But my friends, I've got one of the good ones here, and I'm so very grateful for that. When you both work, lunch is a grab-and-go situation, but once he was home, lunch became a shared meal again. And that was actually pretty lovely. It gave us a chance to reconnect midday. We'd talk about what we were working on and what errands we had, or just sit quietly and eat together. It sounds small, but having that pause in the middle of the day really changed the pace of our afternoons. Sometimes I'd make something simple, like leftovers. Other times, we'd have our big meal midday with chicken, potatoes, and a salad. It never had to be fancy. It was just the consistency of connection that made it feel special. Number three, the grocery bill might shift. When you're feeding someone for 3 meals a day, 5 days a week instead of 1 or 2, it adds up. We weren't eating extravagantly, but a little bit more bread, a little bit more fruit, more eggs, more snacks, it sneaks up on you. When I noticed that the kinds of things we bought started to shift too, more ingredients for meals at home, and more coffee, lots more coffee. We weren't eating out for lunch like he sometimes did, but that didn't mean our food budget went down. It just moved. If I had realized that, I would have prepared differently in my meal plans at the grocery tracking. You know, now that I think about it, I think our budget may have gone down. It's hard to tell when the prices of things keep going up and up and up. Number four, you need to redefine productive. When my husband retired, I was still working, still running my business, creating content, coaching women, managing the day-to-day of life and work combined. So my version of a productive day still looked like deadlines, writing, filming, checking off a to-do list. His, on the other hand, shifted into something much slower. Fixing the hinge on the cupboard door, building a new shed, organizing the garage that's been untouched for years. And at first, I'll be honest, I caught myself measuring, thinking, no, I've been at my desk for 5 hours and he's drawing plans for a new porch. Then I realized he's not trying to match my pace. He's living in a completely different season right now. And the truth is, he's being productive just in a way that doesn't show up on a Google Calendar. Once I let go of trying to make our days look the same, everything felt more peaceful. Number 5, you might miss your alone time. This one surprised me the most. I didn't realize how much I depended on the quiet. Not just the absence of conversation, but the absence of presence. I used to turn on a podcast or music, fold laundry in the afternoon, and feel like I had space to think. Once he retired, I had to be more intentional about carving out the space that I needed. Whether that meant going on a walk, solo, taking a book to a coffee shop, or simply closing the door to my office for an hour. Alone time became something I had to schedule, and it made a huge difference, but also I found myself cutting back on office time and wanting him to come with me to run errands or grab a coffee. Our relationship has changed, and we actually enjoy each other's company. Number 6, he'll have opinions, and that's okay. Now, when he was working, he didn't care how I arranged the spice cupboard. Now he has a favorite shelf for the peanut butter. It's not controlling, it's just that he's more involved, more engaged. He's seeing things that used to live in my domain, and while that took some getting used to, I've come to receive it, appreciate it, and surrender to it. It also sparked new conversations like how we organize things, why we do chores a certain way, or what each other's likes or dislikes are. It turned into a fun way to collaborate other than feeling territorial about how the house runs. Number 7, the to-do list will grow. When you suddenly have time, all of the someday projects start calling your name. He fixed the little things that weren't a priority. He built things that were on our someday list. He deep cleaned the grill. Our to-do list didn't become a burden, but it definitely expanded. If I had known this earlier, I might have budgeted a little more time and money for those home updates or finishing touches we'd been putting off. My husband says he is never bored during retirement. This is probably why. Number 8, you might get in each other's way. Literally and figuratively, we have a small kitchen. I'd be chopping vegetables and suddenly he's reaching behind me for a glass, or I'd be on a Zoom call and hear him in the background fixing the weed whacker. Again, nothing major, but it takes intention to create lanes when two people are moving through the same house all day long. We even started joking, too many cooks in the kitchen. Sometimes that meant taking turns in certain spaces. Sometimes it just meant laughing and giving each other a little grace. Number 9, you don't need to entertain him. At first, I felt a little pressure to create fun or structure, but that wasn't necessary. He had his own interests, his own projects. We didn't need to fill every day with activities, and we didn't need to do everything together either. Once we both stopped trying to structure our time around each other, things felt easier. We could overlap when it made sense and do our own thing when it didn't. Number 10, routines will change, and that's okay. One of the best things that we did was experiment with our routines. Some things stayed the same but moved to a different day, like Saturday errands moved to Friday, or watching our favorite TV show together. But other things shifted. For instance, he took over some of the morning chores while I used that time to go for a walk and get some work done in the office. What might help is to sit down every couple of weeks and check in, see what's working and what's not. That openness keeps us from getting stuck in a pattern that no longer fits. Number 11, you still need boundaries. Just because you're both home doesn't mean that you're both available all the time. And I had to learn that too. When I was working on content or deep into a project, I needed to let him know I'm not available for the next hour. And he respected that. Likewise, when he was deep into something, fixing something outside or pinstriping someone's motorcycle, planning the next trip to Lowe's, I learned not to interrupt unless it was urgent. That mutual respect made the whole home feel more peaceful. Number 12, you might see him in a new light. There was a quiet beauty in seeing how he handled this transition. I got to watch him slow down, explore new interests, and engage with our home and our family in a completely different way. I saw his curiosity return, his calm, his sense of satisfaction comes after fixing something, making breakfast, or solving a small problem. He came out of his shell, talked to random strangers more, got in touch with old friends. It reminds me of the man that I married before life got so busy. Retirement gave me that version of him again, and it was honestly such a gift. Number 13, it's not all or nothing. Not every retiree goes from 40 hours a week to a recliner. My husband still does part-time things now and then. He helps our oldest son with his side hustle, consults on a project, and paints. It's flexible, it's light, but it gives him a sense of value and rhythm. If I could go back, I would have explored these gray areas, retirement early. The in-between phases that gives you purpose without pressure. Number 14, money habits don't automatically change. Even though our income technically decreased, our habits didn't shift overnight. And that's something to watch. You don't need to stop living, but you do need to watch for the small leaks in the budget that weren't there before. Now, we started doing weekly budget check-ins just to keep things aligned. I still use our simple budget planner that helps us track our new rhythm of spending. If you want the free version of that planner, I'll link it below. Number 15, it gets better over time. The first few months were just about observing, adjusting, noticing. But then something clicked. We stopped comparing our days to how they used to be. We started creating new rhythms. Our days became slower, yes, but also a little bit sweeter. It wasn't the finish line I thought retirement would be. It was a soft reset, a chance to build a new version of life together, one that's slower, simpler, and honestly, much more connected. Retirement doesn't have to be dramatic to be transformative. Even when everything goes well, and I truly feel blessed that it did, there's still a process of adjusting to a new pace, a new presence, and a new kind of partnership. So if you're heading into this season soon, or if you're already in it, know this. It's okay to feel unfamiliar. That's not failure. That's the beginning of something new. Let me know in the comments what surprised you the most after retirement if you're there, or what you're curious or nervous about if it's still ahead. And if this video spoke to you, please like, share, subscribe, and watch this video next.